So you guys bear with me for a moment. All right, hold on. So I hope everyone is having a great Tuesday. All right, I think I am up now. I think my screen was freezing a little bit. So, like I said before, I am Al the Great. I am the guest host for the day. I have the opportunity to just kind of start off this series of of motivating men. So I am truly honored to be here, and I will bring up two of my special guests in a moment. But if you are hearing the sound of my voice, go ahead and share. Don't keep us all to yourself. Go ahead and share. And let me bring up the fellas. Mr. Arthur Mitchell, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Mr. Al?
Doing well. And Mr. Kendall Dorsey, how are you doing, sir?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Look,
Glad
that
to see
that music that Kimberly has is very smooth. It puts you in a very mellow and relaxed mood.
Yes, it
So tell the people who you guys are. Give them a little taste of who you are. I guess we can start off with Arthur.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you once again for being on the show. Then Arthur Mitchell, a special education consultant, TEDx speaker, mentor coach, and professional development strategist. What I do is help kids find a champion inside them by helping them make the adjustments, find out who they are, but most important, how to live a healthy lifestyle. You can be great in who you are.
I love it. I love it. I love the work that you're doing, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Kendall.
Good evening. I'm Kendall Dorsey. First of all, a man of God, a child of God. That's one of the most important things. A proud member of Kingdom Excel Ministries in Raleigh, North Carolina. So just excited to be there where I serve actually as the worship pastor. Also operate as assistant principal in Durham Public Schools. And kind of like Brother Arthur, I'm excited about working with young people, inspiring young people. Earlier this year in January, I published my first book, The WIC Influence. And in the same way, it's about helping people maximize their potential, being a support for people. And I'm excited to get the message out and to inspire and motivate others. So glad to be here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. And everybody watching, if you guys just bear with me tonight, I have a aggravating cough that does not seem to want to go away, and it comes at the most unopportune times, like mid sentence. And sometimes I'm trying not to cough, and my voice starts cracking, and it almost sounds like I'm going through puberty all over again. So you guys just bear with me. Just bear with me. So, like I said before, the series that Kimberly started is Men Motivating Men. And I really like that series, just the idea of men motivating men, because me, myself, I have not seen a lot of spaces dedicated to motivating men. What about you guys? Have you seen that?
Well, I know for myself, I really have it. Even just like in the conferences and the programs. And I'd be wondering, like, you see a lot of women conferences, a lot of women collaboration, a lot of things for women. But as far as black men and men in general, you don't see too much, you know.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think a lot of times people are really starting to build more conferences and things like that for men. I've been really, really impressed with my church. We have a strong men's ministry, and that's one of the places where we really need to begin to gather men together where we can network and strengthen each other. So it's really been beneficial. Our pastor, that's on his heart. It's a big part of his ministry, and so that's one of the ways that I hope other people will begin to connect. Is one of the ways is through that and through other organizations. So it's critical that we get men together, like you said, and we direct things specifically toward men.
And yeah, and that is mostly the space that I have seen, those groups of, dedicated to motivating men is in the church. We know that's been something, I think that's been a dedicated space, I feel like, for a long time. I see some spaces, where we talk about business and we talk about other things, but I really do think it is important that you have those spaces in and outside the church,
Yeah.
especially in business. In the
Yeah.
green room, we were talking about how, right now, Black women, and let me specify, women in general, but definitely Black women are like out here killing it in America. Education, business, really kind of killing it, moving up the the ladder. And I don't want to say that, I don't want to use that word that Black men are falling behind, but we're not making some of these strides in some of these areas. I'm sure that we can find other areas that we're kind of, being more strengthened in, but in these areas that, and it's difficult because these are the areas that typically in our culture we look for as success, in business and, your finances, all these things. So it is important to have these dedicated spaces. So what do you guys think? What are some ways that, we talked about having that space of, to motivate men, but what are some other ways that we can kind of close the gap with Black men and men in general?
I know for me, I would say definitely starts in the church, like Brother Dorsey said, starting in the church or having us coming together, having like different functions. Because we don't, as we all know, real men have real issues. A lot of times we want to accept the fact that we had the issue, so we kind of want to leave it behind or not feel like it's important enough or not want nobody to know what's going on, that we hide so much stuff, and it turns out to different things happen, and I'm a strong believer that mental health is real.
Yes.
And that if we as men don't understand that and get the importance of getting help, needed help, it's going to continue to be that ongoing process of women doing this or women doing that. I've seen a lot of women, a lot more women judges, a lot more women nurses, a lot more women ministers and pastors. And I'm like, I know we got potential. I know we here because God made us first to have that strong meat that made, but it seems like we don't understand or realize our greatest potential and our power that we have to rule, to govern, to do things that we need to do as men to make ourselves more presentable, so we can just not just be looked at as you just here, but be called on as that leader or that person that's going to help you grow and keep going.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think too is trying to find spaces where men can strategically collaborate, whether it's network, whether it's collaborate and things like that. I think sometimes we get caught up in, well, let's get together for this reason, but no, let's make sure we look, if you got to strengthen this, make sure that we connect so that we can learn more about that, so that we really can build each other up and network. And you're right, Brother Arthur, too, on that other side, on that mental health side, is you need a group of brothers where there is trust, so that you can feel vulnerable enough to have a conversation about what you're going through, about what you're dealing with, so that, because a lot of times us as men, we take our problems and we deal with it over here. Like we might have a brother or a cousin that will say things to, and not that you're trying to tell your business to everyone, but there's power in that collaboration, or there's power in that networking, even around problems, because somebody may have a solution that you didn't think about, or they may have gone through a similar problem and they can help you walk through it in a strategic way. So I think finding ways that we can have spaces of trust and build networks that support each other in a meaningful way is going to make the difference. And it's one of the ways that the women are doing their thing. They having their teas and having their
Yes,
but they're networking.
yeah,
They get a job done.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
like that. I like that you guys addressed that, and Zachary also addressed that in the comments about mental health. One of the things that I really love about the time that we're in, that we're in this space where we're trying to normalize mental health in general, but definitely in men, and normalizing men being able to address their issues and talk about these things. So I think that is all definitely some really key things that we need.
Absolutely.
So one of the other things we talked about, when we're talking about men motivating men, is there a difference in when you're motivating men and you're motivating women? When you guys go to, maybe with, you often, you definitely have to read the room with, as any speaker, as any presenter, you definitely have to kind of read the room. So what have you found are the differences, and what has worked for you?
Well, I know for me, like you said, definitely got to read the room because everybody can take criticism, everybody can take trust, everybody can take you telling the truth.
Right.
So you got to come in there with a sense of, okay, well, I know what they're going through or what he going through or how great they're doing. So coming in the way that they understand it. So having a certain way to come at people or knowing that person or just coming in a light to allow you to come in real heavy and then go from there. And women, you know that so most of their love language is affirmations, words. So having that being said, that though that you can come in like you're doing a great job or you're doing good though, they take that as far as you telling a man, they're like, oh, okay, all right, no, what I'm doing, and they feel like you're telling them the same thing, but you gotta sometimes specify to them so they can really understand, like, okay, he see what I'm doing, he really do care, or I'm gonna let him in because he know more about an issue I've been through, what I've been through to help me out. 'Cause I was that way, I got in this men's group one time and I was quiet. And then after maybe 2 3 sessions, I understand. Hold on, they're not here to hurt me. They've been through what I've been through. No, they been through the same situation and I'm going through it now. So once I became vulnerable to now speak out and really talk, I was able to get help and know and do that. A lot of times as we come in the room, they also reading us. So they'll know how to be vulnerable or not, but until they figure out who we are as a person and realize, no, bro, we here to help. No, we men. Let's stick together. Let's connect. Let's grow. Let's nurture and build everything together. Then they're able to come on in and say, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, men kind of going into the situation with their guard up.
Yes.
Definitely. What
And
do you want to say, Kendall?
I was gonna say, I think too is, women are very good about their emotions. They will operate a lot of times through their emotion, and so then helping men sort of navigate, especially that with women, so that they can really support any women in their lives the way that they really should. I think that's critical. Helping us as men really process our thought, our thinking, and getting us in a space where we can share not just our emotion, but we can share what we're going through and how we feel about it, so that then how do we deal with it. It sort of takes looking at all three of those aspects so that we can make sure that we can really be the type of support possible. Me and we go forward. We like, well, I got to do X, I got to do Y, I got to do Z, and so then we can problem solve together and think through that. But then sometimes it's helping me and realize, but how does that impact the people around you? How is that impacting your family? How is that impacting your wife or your girlfriend or your mother or whomever? And so helping men sort of unpack some of those things so that they can really be successful in their relationships, in their work, and in all the things that they do, and being strategic.
One of the things that I think has been extremely difficult that I've seen in our culture is the way that we kind of quantify, whether it be greatness, whether it be success, whether it be any of these things. Like, we really look at how, we're not successful unless we're putting points on the board,
Mm,
and often some of that preparatory work is not being seen. It doesn't. it's not, it doesn't necessarily lead to dollars at that time, or it doesn't necessarily lead to, big contracts or any of these other things. And I feel like often as men, we want to put those points on the board. Like we want to see something, we want to be able to touch it, kind of all these things. Have you guys seen that or ran into that issue? And what would you say are some ways to kind of focus on that prep work versus, just putting those points on the board?
I would say I was that person. I was him, because I was always that person that I may get this, but I always wanted more. Or I may do this, I always wanted more. And my wife would always tell me, celebrate the small wins until the big win happen. But I would like you said, I want to put the points on the board. I want to get this. I want to grab this. But I didn't understand though. As you celebrate the small wins, everything else is big that you want going to come along. So with men, like you said, we got to see it. We got to see it happen. We got to see the pedal moving, or that thing going, so we can keep on feeling motivated, as if we got that we doing this, we got this, and we good. And then when we see it's slowing up, we feel like we ain't doing that, but it really just giving us time to keep on moving and keep our momentum up, so we can continue to go further and continue to acquire who we are, so we continue to be the best version. But a lot of times we feel like it's like, if we ain't got this in a bank account, or we ain't got a nice house, or we ain't got nice clothes, or our kids ain't got what other kids got, that we feel like we ain't doing nothing. And in reality, we are. But it takes us celebrating the small wins and gradually growing. We can't. And I like to learn myself. It's a journey. It's a process, and you got to keep going, not rush the process, because if you do, you're gonna miss something.
And it can be so hard to do because with social media, you are comparing the work you're doing. You comparing your life, and what you're doing, to a glimpse or a snapshot, or even total delusional picture of what somebody else is doing. And I think that often gets us in trouble.
Yeah.
I would say one of the things, and one of the big focus of my book, The Wick Influence, talks about a flame. When you think about any fire, needs three things to burn. A fire needs fuel, it needs air, and it needs heat. And the thing is, whatever we're doing, whatever process we're doing, whatever we're focusing on, needs all three of those things. And sometimes what we need to figure out is which one is missing. It's like when you barbecue on the grill, right? I'm a charcoal brother myself now.
Yes, sir.
When that fire go down, what do? You lift the lid so you get more air in. So we have to sometimes figure out which of the three things are missing. Do I need more fuel? Do I need more resources or money? Or, do I need to connect with brothers who know what's going on? Do I need a mentor? Do I need air? Do I need more time to think about it, more space? Or sometimes I need heat. I need a timeline. You got to get this done by this. I need this managed in this way. You know what I mean? And so that's where, if we begin to really figure out which of the things do we need, and we can begin to look for the resources that's going to help us make it happen. And so that's one of those things that we should be thinking about is which of those things are needed and how do we make it happen?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that analogy so much. And it's one of the things that, God has really speaking to me this year, with just about that idea of fire. And all of us have that fire within us.
That's right.
I think as men sometimes, and as people in general, sometimes we get in trouble because we fuel that fire with the wrong fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about that idea of comparison, or this idea of competition. This is Coffee and Collaborations Media, and we're all about collaboration. And sometimes we just, you're feeding that fire off of what you see, or competition, or, all these things, versus feeding that fire with something that is going to be a good source of fuel. That's going to be something that's going to burn clean. It's going to be long lasting.
That's it. Preach, brother. That's just it. That's just it. And so the reason why it's called the wick, because think about a candle. the flame sits at the top of the candle. You know, the wick's job is really to make sure all three of those things happen so that the fire keeps burning. So you want to be a wick, like a candle would. Like you want to, I want to be the person that might help get the fuel going, or help bring the air, or help get the oxygen going. So it's like we got to think about those things and be a wick for each other as men. We can support each other in that way, to make sure, like you said, which one is missing. Do I need more of this or need more of that? We can think about which one of those things are necessary. It's good.
One of the things I was listening to a pastor, I think it was a Furnick, and one of the things, and I've heard this before about borrowing someone else's confidence.
Mm,
And for me myself, I've talked a lot about growing up with just not having high confidence. Something that I've struggled with for a long time. And you guys can tell me if you agree or not. I think men also, just in our culture in general, I think men suffer with confidence more than our culture lets on, or more than people than the perception of us, because we can be perceived to be confident, but I think we struggle with our confidence sometimes a lot more than women. So one of the ideas that I have loved is about, and we talked about being in groups with other men, is borrowing someone else's confidence.
mhm.
You know, being able to do that, sometimes you get in a space and you're trying something new, and that idea is a babe, and sometimes you need that other man, to motivate you, to tell you that you can do it. You need to borrow somebody else's confidence for that moment. Is this something that you guys have noticed? Is this something that you lend your confidence to other people, or you have to borrow someone else's confidence at times?
Yes, I know definitely for me. I have done that at times, and I have people have ran off my confidence as well because I feel like sometimes, we have an idea or have something going on, and we see somebody have done it, been there. It gives us a motivation we can do it. So, prime example, with losing weight, I started my weight loss journey in February, and I've been seeing guys, was overweight or had different weight loss issues, but then now they hit their goal weight. So that I took that and fed up their confidence. Now I lost 25 pounds to let me know that, if they can do it, I can do it too. And sometimes we need that. We let men need to see that somebody else have done it, so they give them confidence to do it and then boost them up. Just like prime out there on the movie Rocky. Every time he was in the ring with somebody, he fought. He knew, man. Mick tell him, man, "I the Tiger," or Paulo Creek told him, man, Tiny Stein, that his confidence is boost up now. Okay, they on my side. Let's go out there and win. So sometimes we need that man or that person that's gonna boost us up and tell us, man, you got this. Let's go. Keep going. Keep moving. Keep pushing, and then allow us to really, man, take that our level to 100% and keep on moving.
Yeah. And imagine our young men. They really, really, really need that. It was interesting. Like last week, we had state testing. A young man came down like, I'm so worried about state testing. What am I going to do? And he said, the principal typically prays with me. So I said, well, come on. She's not right here, but come on. And I'm like, so we got this, we're going to have supernatural belief that we're going to do great. Like, walk out confidence. It's like we got to give that to each other through prayer, through conversations, through supporting each other. You're exactly right. We got to give each other our confidence. Sometimes when we don't think we can, but you got to push people to go further, to do more. I think that is important because a lot of times that's just it. People act like everyone has so much confidence, but even people that did great things a lot of times were fearful. They didn't know what was going to happen, but
Exactly.
they had enough oomph to take the step to move forward. And so sometimes it just takes that. Like it just takes taking those couple of steps to get where they need to get. So that's exactly right. We should build each other's confidence and support each other in that. I love that.
And I found that even with the idea of how we perceive confidence, I've been reading a lot of books about confidence and and just different things. But even this idea of how we view confidence in our culture, like we view it in a way that that it means that you are without doubt. Like you go into this situation and you got it all together. You don't have any doubts and all these other things. And we all know that's not true. Everybody has doubts at times, but it's
Exactly.
um, one of the things I really love about you see people who others perceive as having a lot of confidence, and when you think about the brain really doesn't really know the difference between nervousness and you're excited. So whichever one you tell your brain, you could be very nervous, but if you tell your brain you excited, it's the same connection.
Hmm.
It's the same connection. But I think also changing this idea, and we've talked a lot on here, and I've seen it in the comments about men just hiding their emotions. Not talking about some of the fears, not talking about some of their emotions and all these other things, so others perceive them as being confident when they actually do have doubts and have other stuff going on.
That's absolutely true. I know one of my favorite scriptures, Ephesians 3:20. God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. Now, people stop there, but then there's the second part. According to the power that works in you. And so, see, there's the part about, you got to have a level of confidence to take the step yourself before you try to pull God into this equation. And so it's important that you yourself bring enough to the table. You got to take some steps. You got to do something so that then you can make it happen. So, I think it's important that we operate in that way, that we operate in the right kind of confidence so that God can move and he can do the work that needs to be done. But it starts with you. It starts with what are you going to do? What steps are you going to take? What moves are you going to make first that then he can move and go even further supernaturally? So it's important.
Yeah, so that's true. Another scripture I love too, greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. So lets us know that the power that's in God's already in us. So we should have the power as well, have the confidence to know that we can do it no matter what, because he did it. Right. So though, having men understand the power that you already have, understand that the confidence is already built up in us, will allow us to keep going. But some of us confidence because they don't understand the power we have. And they just understood the power that God gave us is already in us, and not what we see, what we look, what we feel, we touch, what we taste. Then we understand how important it is for us to keep on going and pushing.
And understanding that our weakness is made, that's what God uses. But some of us, we don't want to admit to that weakness. It's this idea that we have to present strength 24/7. And I think that's a huge struggle.
Well, I think a lot of times you're exactly right though, Al. And I think we begin, though, maturity comes and you begin to realize that I'm not going to have every answer to every question. I'm sometimes going to have to say, I'm sorry. Not to my wife, I don't be making mistakes, honey. No, just yes, I do. Okay. No, but you got to say you're sorry. A grown man makes a mistake and needs to apologize or needs to atone. And maturity comes and we begin to realize that in time. And I think, it takes that level of maturity to realize I'm not perfect. I'm going to tell you I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers. I don't know all the things. I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm going to give you what I got. If I make a mistake, I'm going to own up to it and be accountable. And once you grow in that level of maturity, that's all you can do. And that's what we got to do is even with our young men is hold each other accountable. That's where you got to have enough trust to do that as men too. Because sometimes, look, if we're going to have a relationship, we got to hold each other to a level of accountability if it's a partnership. Even in this, you wanted me to come on and be on at this time. Where are you at? We got to hold each other accountable and be willing to do that because that builds us up and not be afraid to because, he going to be upset if I say something. No, this is where we need to get to the point where we can hold each other accountable in love. If I know you love me and you care about me, you're going to say, no, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. No, this ain't what you need to be doing. And that's how we can begin really as men to help each other. But we got to get to that level. We got to get to, a willingness to be able to do that.
And that's true, because it's funny because that word accountability scares people. And it used to scare me because I didn't want nobody telling me what I did wrong, or how I can do this, or what I can do now, or when I can do this, or why I got to do it. I was like, I'm my own man. You can't tell me nothing. But even into marriage, I be the same way, though. I didn't want accountability.
That's
I
right.
had to realize that in order to grow and become the man to be, you're going to have to be told right from wrong, or be told you're doing this right, or you can do this better. No, having them other opinions in your life, and having somebody else see what you don't see can make you a better man. I have to realize that, once I came vulnerable, understanding, accountability not here to hurt you, but make you better. And once men realize that, we're not here to be under your back 24/7, but we're gonna let you know, okay, I think you should do this way, or what you did was wrong. But we get a point, man, you can't tell me what's wrong. Did you do it, or have you done it? Was you there? But in reality, we just trying to, like I said, hold you accountable to help you grow, not stunt your growth. And a lot of times we don't understand it and see it until it's too late, because we don't want to change our ways. But in order to grow and mature and get to this level, you have to change. One of my famous quotes for Jim Rohn said, "For things to change, you got to change. For things to get better, you just got to get better."
And you guys are going to hear me reflect on the culture a lot. Like I am, I call myself a counterculturalist, and that is really one of my missions to change, and really present a counterculture. And one of the things that I have noticed is, with social media and everything that, everything being so accessible at times, we are so stuck on pleasure. You post a picture and you want likes and follows and all these other things. Like we are feeding into that pleasure sense so much that discomfort looks like an attack. When somebody is trying to hold you accountable for your actions, they're trying to give you a feedback. They're trying to have that bro moment, and often, because it's not pleasurable, we look at it as an attack. And I think that's going to be, some major ground that we have to cover.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna say you dead on that one. I mean, and it is major ground that we're gonna have to cover. And I think that's the good part, even about our younger generation. They are uncovering so many things, probably too, like taking apart everything. But at the same time, I think pushing them to realize that there is a level of that mentorship is necessary, that accountability and vulnerability is necessary, and being willing. They struggle. Like right now, it's great that there's an entrepreneurial spirit, but somebody going to have a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody can't be their own boss all the time, and we've all got to be able to be accountable to something higher. That's where, as working in a school and seeing that, and it's, I want you to grow. I want you to be your best. I want you to do those things. But we also have to help our young people figure out how to navigate both sides of it. Push, go hard, be innovative and creative, but also understand that in some ways, there are guidelines, or there are rules, or there's things you need to think about, or somebody loves you and they're trying to give you some advice, or give you some accountability, that's not an attack, that's love, So it's just something to think about.
Yeah, and you hit that, or they say nail in the head, because I struggled with that for the longest, because growing up with being visually impaired and having an eye disease, I used to get bullied and rejected. So I grew up being very defensive. Being everything somebody say was very defensive. If I feel like you coming at me, I'm gonna come at you. I feel like you telling me the wrong, I'm gonna do it opposite. You tell me that's right, I'm gonna do it left. You tell me it's up, I'm gonna do it down. So I dealt with that, not really understanding though that they are trying to help you, and if you just listen, take your ego out of it, allow yourself to really understand the solution, then you better figure out the problem. But I was just so dealing with anger and bitterment for not having people support me on my side. I just grew up that way, very defensive. Nobody can tell me nothing, and it cost me a lot of friendships, relationships, almost marriage, and just so much stuff happened. But I had to understand that. No, listen. don't react. Listen. I will always react and then listen. So definitely for our young people, they react so quickly without listening because the ego is so built up to they gotta prove a point or I ain't no punk in front of them or you ain't gonna tell me nothing. So they feel like they can just do whatever, but if they just sit back and listen to what's going on and realize that we're trying to tell you what we not what you know, but what we know and been through, so you can be better than us to show them a better life. Because the statistics gonna tell them what not supposed to do, but we trying to tell them what to do. So they're gonna try to collide together with social media, TV, the rappers and stuff. They're not gonna hear it because the ego be so big. I gotta have the money, I gotta have the girls, the females, I gotta have the guys, I got this, and it just all blow up. So they just combobulate in the mind that they don't know which way to go, but they just sit back and listen and really take heed of what's going on in society and who you are as a person. You can be better. You can be better to yourself and understand what's going on now.
Yeah, and that's part of kind of what we talked about putting those points on the board.
Mm-hmm.
This younger generation, I gotta get the bag. It's all about the bag. And, everything I do has to lead to that bag. And that's just not gonna give you enough value. It's just not gonna be enough.
I was not feeling well last week, and I told my worship team something about this. So I had to take a pill, like an individual pill. And so the pill on the back had two steps. It had number one, you got to peel back because when you go into an individual pill, you got to peel back a layer, and then step two was push forward. And too many times we try to go straight to step two, push forward. But if we push forward before we peel back, what happens is we could damage the very thing we were trying to get to in the first place. If I first push forward, we need to first peel back. We got to look at who we are. What are we doing? Or what are we not doing? Or who are we around? So that we can begin to think differently. We got to peel back first. And the problem is some of our young people, and we all do this, young people to a degree, we just push forward first.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't take that moment to stop and reflect and first peel back before we push forward. And so, those are some of those things. Like you got to do both steps. Yes, men, we're custom. We Black. We resilient. We're gonna keep going forward. But take a moment and peel back first. It'll make the difference.
Like I love that. It makes me think about this. The idea that when men are putting together stuff, we don't look at the directions.
Oh,
And you go straight to the back. You look at the picture on the box. And you try to piece it together yourself. Look, I'm gonna tell you, I'm one man that I don't fit that. Like I am not mechanically inclined, so I'm gonna watch videos. I'm gonna follow it step by step.
my
I
wife.
don't even like
my
putting
wife
together
put
anything.
together. My wife.
Like if you buy my kids a present, you better put it together and bring it here.
Yeah. Same here. My wife put out stuff together. I help her, but she the one that very detailed, very looking at this AB, JJBB. Nah, I get frustrated real quick. I ain't the one for that. but that's men though. In general though, we pay very less attention to details, and then we don't look at, like you said, the peel back before we push forward. And I'm a victim of that. I used to always push forward and never peel back, and it could have cost me some hurtful times in my past because I didn't really understand. But like you said, no, if you peel back first, then push forward, we'll see that no, it was a step to this and why we couldn't do that first to do this first. So I mean, I'm gonna use that too, Brother Dorsey. I like that.
I like that too. I like it too. It looks like I got some other people in the chat that also read the instructions. I'm glad we read the instructions. Look, I'm looking at YouTube videos too, so I'm doing all I can.
Right, we're going straight to YouTube. Lord have mercy, I thank you for it. Because who fixed this before? Because I need to see it. But again, it's collaboration. We're using resources. We're looking at other folks that do things. Imagine we didn't have that before. You may have had somebody that had that level of expertise, or you don't. But if you do, take advantage of those resources. Even we as men, there's a level of expectation that we can fix stuff and do stuff. And I tinker enough. If I mess it, I'm not gonna break it worse. So if I'm breaking it worse, I'm calling somebody.
I will tell you, just as we're using that analogy, one of the most frustrating things when you're putting something together is you feel like you got a steady pace. you moving, you think you getting it together, and you get to this point where you got to put two pieces together, and you realize one of your pieces is backwards, or you missed a step, like. And I see, like, often as in general, if we are not educating each other and we're not seeking that assistance, you get to this point in life where you think that you're making some ground, but you end up losing some ground because you didn't do something correctly. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you went and you got that you got your business. Example, you got your business and you making money in your business, and then you didn't bother to look to see if somebody else had that same name of that business, and now you got to change your name, and you didn't had it a few years. So you always got to ask for assistance.
Exactly. And that's another thing too, man. Dealing with we got to be right all the time. You got to be right all the time. No, man, we got to be right. That we don't know nothing. That nobody else knows better than we do. Nobody can do better than we do. And it's all about a competition. But like you said, it's about collaboration, networking, unified, coming together, building one another, having a network of men where if I can't do it, I'm gonna call my brother to do it. If I need prayer, I'm gonna call my brother to pray. Or if I need the vent, call my brother to vent. And we're gonna all come together and solve this one problem through each one of our solutions, and having it together, and that's what we need, But yet we want to branch off, and join a gang that don't care nothing about us, or join a group of people that are doing bad because we doing bad, thinking they'll help us out, and it's gonna get us in more trouble than coming to the person, persons that's gonna really show us what leading by example and doing what they doing.
I love it, man. It looks like in the chat, you guys are funny in the chat. Looks like we got some other men that get to the end of the project and got some extra pieces.
I always put extra pieces in there, right?
Yeah, always.
Or you get to the end of it. Like I've gotten to the end of it, I'm like, forget it. I start screwing, drilling my own holes. I'm like, look, I'm not moving backwards.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drill some holes. I'll put some other screws in there. Look, as long as it's together, I'm not doing it.
It's gonna connect somehow.
Right. This seems like this should fit here.
Yeah. One of the things I think will be, and I think we've addressed a lot of it, but is leadership. And I told you guys I'm gonna keep going back to this culture, of how we view leadership. What does that look like to you all? Because we know in the faith, men are looked at as the leaders of the home. What does that look like to you guys? Whether it be leadership, whether it be in the home or just in general, because there are these negative ideas about leadership that, I always have to be seen. I have to be the one that makes the decision. I got to be right. All these things that we have kind of grown accustomed to of falsehoods of what leadership looks like. What does leadership look like to you guys?
Yeah.
I think one of my most important things around leadership, I think, is coaching. I think one of the most important things you can do as a leader is help someone else reflect on what they're doing. Think about a coach on the sidelines. They're not playing the game, but they're watching and they're giving direction to help you be better, and calling plays and supporting you. And so I think that's one of the ways where it's not about bossing and telling, but it is about helping you to see if you just did this further back, if you just, went a little bit further XYZ, or do you feel like you did this the right way or that way, so that you can be thinking about it and analyzing yourself. And that's how you begin to build and strengthen others. So I think it's a critical thing. And it's one of the things that when you think about mentorship, coaching, it's not a word that I don't know we use as much as in Black men, as but that idea of coaching, we think coaching sports, but like coaching each other through what we're going through, or coaching each other through, business things or things like that. We got to help each other reflect. We got to help each other grow. We got to help each other in those ways. And so sometimes being someone that can observe and see what's going on so that I can give you some good feedback, but you got to be open to it, which is what we talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's one of those ways where leadership can be the difference. And then secondly is being there and being present as a part. I mean, working in a school, being a black male, it's not that I got a black woman principal who's wonderful. She's amazing. She's respected. But it's like there's times where I see some of the young men when I come down the hall. Mr. Dorsey, yeah, and I talk, get over there. Like there's this understanding that presence of the black man is important, and we got to make sure that we keep our role, and that we move to establish it and strengthen it, not diminish it.
That's so true, Brother Dorsey. You hit the nail on the head again. And I think to me, leadership is very important. I think growing up, leadership starts in the home. Your is God, your father. It should be your first leader, and that shows by example who you can grow up to be, or who you maybe mimic or become as you grow. When in kindergarten, I say, who you want to be? You grow up. I'm gonna be like my dad, or be like I'm gonna be a fireman. So having that example at an early age will determine your future and allow you to understand who you want to be a portrait of, who you want to have a silhouette of, who you want to be growing up. And it lacks a lot in our household because they wasn't taught to be leaders. Now learning that a lot of single parent households with just their mom because their dad showed how to be a leader, or their dad, and typically not their fault because their dad may not know them. No, so it allows us now as men to teach ourselves and give it to somebody else. But because we feel like it's stopped at our dad, that we don't want nobody else leadership because they can do it, nobody can do it for me. So allowing them to see, doing, and then leadership is to me is important because it helps, like you said, it helps you account like a coach. A basketball team don't win games because of them. They win because the coach coached them. He saw what plays you needed to run. He saw who the players to go in and make the plays, but he also saw the other team, the opponent, had to defend them. So and then by your players listen to the coach, you win championships, you win games. So having that person to be very observant, be present, and also knowing, allow people, not allow your team or yourself in general to be present and be open to want to know more and to win. Even my book, I talk about what I went through, but I had a group of men and my community helped me win because I followed leadership and I saw them. I led by example. I saw what they went through. I saw the things going through, and some men lack that because of what their past was like. And I tell them, don't let your past dictate your future. You have your own mind now to grow up, now to be your best person. It's like when you're a baby. We crawl first, then we walk, then we got kindergarten, this fourth grade, and then it's your own man. But as you get older, now it's your time to really, okay, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. Who can I go to? Who can I run to? And find that right leadership and a person that's going to really show you the route and the way and the plays to keep you moving and growing. So leadership is very important in the black community. It should be, but sometimes we feel like we want to go to an OG for leadership, or somebody that got pulled in the hood, or that person is going to set us up right in the right spot, and it's not the right leadership because they didn't know. So it's just a trickle effect of down of mom, granddaddy, senior, junior, third, and then you realize you get to the wrong person. Like, man, what happened? So that's how I feel like leadership is very important.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Both of you guys have mentioned that. Both of you guys are authors. Congratulations. I know you just recently wrote your book, Kendall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your book, and as we're kind of winding down the show, about the things that you're doing.
Absolutely. In my book, The Wick Influence, we talked about a little bit earlier too. I think we mentioned about that flame, and really this conversation is rich is making me think and make all those connections to the book, that a wick of a candle makes sure that the flame gets everything that it needs.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be a wick. We need to be a wick for other people. So if you need more fuel, I'll have that for you. If you need more air, I'll have that for you. If you need more heat, I'll have that for you. And that's what the book is ultimately about, that we all have a flame and that we can help each other build each other's flame and not put it out. we should be role models. I think that's important. What are we presenting? I think about a young man. I was at school and I was going to barbecue that day, so I was dressed down. And he was in second grade, young black boy. He said, "Mr. Dorsey, where your suit at?" I was like, "Where?" I said, "I'm barbecuing today, sir. I need you to wear your suit. It matters.
Mm,
What we do matters." And
mm,
so we can represent, but we can also do more than that. We can support. We can give each other what we need to build each other up. And that really is what the book is all about. So I'd love for you to check it out. If you want to follow me and check out the website, you can see more information there. I'd love to be able to talk further with you, your organization. And I'm out here and just enjoying motivating and working with others. Appreciate it. Oh, and I have to give a shout out again to my church, Kingdom Excel Ministries, my pastor, M. Lamont Cooper in Raleigh, North Carolina. We love y'all.
I love it, and I put the website in the chat if you guys have seen it. Is that's where they can go and purchase the book, correct?
Yes, there's a link there.
I love it. I love that concept. Love it. Love it. Love it. Arthur, tell us about your book and what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So my book is called Seven Steps to Finding the Champion Inside of You. And I got that from my TED talk. And in my book, I'll give them 7 scenarios that I went through in life, talking about growing up at being diagnosed at the age of 6 with a very eye disease called keratoconus. And it's an eye disease how your eyes oval, but mine like a football shape pressed around pupil, and it caused me to be visually impaired. So imagine the age of 6, a young boy in kindergarten really just wanted to be a kid, but had to learn how to see. So going through the different stages of life with the bullying, the rejection, the lack of support, and it led me to become a champion. And then my book talk about, as a champion, you got to put them gloves on to fight. Because in order to win the game called life, you got to keep on fighting. I talk about different techniques dealing with how having the correct stamina, be able to uppercut the situation, because situations don't come left and right. But as we know in boxing, if you uppercut that person hard enough, they're gonna fall back. So with your situation, if you uppercut the situation hard enough, it's gonna fall back and go down. I talk about taking a break, but also not be lethargic. When the bell ring, it spin the cup, and when the bell ring again, they get back up. So get back up and fight, not allowing the situation to tend to dwell on you, keeps you going. So in the book, I talk about that's a champion workbook, and it helps young kids and young adults as well understand the champion inside of them. Understand that things happen, life happens, but if you get up, put them gloves on, and tighten it, and have that stamina to continue rounds, your life will change to be different than what you want it to be. And right now with me, I'm just going on tour. I'm doing a book. I'm doing a school tour, and I'm doing a tour about the young men's program that I have going out. My first stop actually this Thursday, going to Allendale, South Carolina School District. So I got that going on. I'm doing a book tour in August, and just really just focus on inspiring, changing, transforming lives, because my passion is working with the youth, and I want to see them win. There's so much going on that has happened within the last 2-3 years with going from digital to traditional to digital, that their mindset is off and on. So I want to help them reiterate who they are, but also understand the importance of what happened, but how you can change the narrative if you just believe in yourself.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Again, I put down Arthur's website. Make sure you go and support both of these gentlemen. This is doing some amazing work. So, Kendall, give us your social media.
Let's see, I am at mainly Kendall L. Dorsey. I believe everything is at Kendall L. Dorsey, and or at actually, I'm sorry, my Twitter is Kendall_Dorsey. So my Twitter is Kendall_Dorsey, but everything else, so Kendall spelled like Kendall, L. Dorsey. So follow me. Love to get you more information. More content.
Yes, definitely. What about you, Arthur?
Yes, so you can reach me on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, it's Arthur Mitchell. I'm on Instagram at ArtSpeaks82, it's ART Speaks 82. And on LinkedIn, it's Arthur Mitchell. Definitely, man, please reach out, speak to me. I love to come to your school, your youth organization, summer camp, board, anything dealing with kids. I love to come and inspire, change, and transfer lives.
Definitely. On behalf of Kimberly Winborn and the collaboration of culture podcast. I want to thank both of you for coming on, just dropping so many nuggets, so much wisdom. Thank you all in the chat. You guys kept the chat lit, kept it lit. Love doing a show with a lit chat. I love it. I love it. Even the bot that came on there and I had to block. So keep it be on my toes. Look, I can't go to sleep over here while I'm doing this. I can't go to sleep. So thank you all for joining us. If you are not following Coffee and Collaborations Media already, make sure you go ahead and rectify that situation. If you somehow found us and not already follow us, make sure you rectify that. We have a number of amazing shows, and whether it be this one, Love and Flow, my show, the Counterculture Show, like we're in here putting in the work. So definitely go and follow us and share. And thank you all for adding to the conversation. I am Al the Great, your neighborhood kind of coachless. Like I said before, I'm truly honored to be able to host this show. So giving a shout out to Kimberly as she kind of, hopefully will be back soon. But just thank you all for joining us. I want to tell you, like I do with every show, it is important that you make sure that you know that you're great. I think you're great. God thinks you're great. It is important that you know that you're great and that you decide to walk in your greatness. Often, in our culture, you feel like people don't accept the packaging that greatness comes in. But it is also important to understand that God does not create duds. God manufactures greatness 24/7, no matter what that packaging looks like, no matter if others can accept it or not. It doesn't even matter. Just understand that God does not create duds, and make sure that you walk in your greatness each and every day. And I will see you next time here on the Collaboration Culture, and next time, on Coffee and Collaborations Media. All right. Thank you.